Hello, everybody, and welcome to Saturday night edition of the Phantom Fables Podcast. Apparently, I cannot speak today. Thank you so very much for making us a part of your evening, wherever you may be. I like the song, it's kind of rad. And it fits in with the Bowers Mansion discussion that we're having. This is part 2 of our Bowers Mansion discussion, as once again we are joined by the... What are you? Are you talented? Yeah, you're talented.
Enchanting.
Well, I wasn't going to say enchanting, but that's your thing, not mine. But how you been? How are things going?
Pretty good. Yeah, I'm excited to be back on the podcast again.
Yeah, no, glad to have you here. We are live, of course, on YouTube. Very excited because, Katie, I didn't mention this in our little pre-show that we were doing, but I am starting the process of linking the shows to Twitch.
Oh, nice.
Other types of platforms. So that's not going to be something that we'll be doing immediately, but I'm trying to link through the other...
down the line, we'll get to more platforms, hopefully.
Absolutely. Welcome in, Professor Lex. Hey, guys. Yeah, Mom used to tell me my sibling stories about the Bowers all the time. Yeah, this is an interesting... So a little bit of background on this. We actually did kind of a... I guess it turned into more of a trial...
practice episode, I would call it.
Exactly. And apparently we were horrible at it. Of course, I was trying to coach Kate because
No, we were not.
I have coached you before about the podcast because generally the first one's the absolute worst. It's kind of dog shit, but excuse my French, but
well, we have a chance to redo it since I think I'd rather just do it live on our channel, our new channel, and make sure.
I agree. I absolutely agree with that. No doubt about that. Professor, while we're just kind of chit-chatting here, can you confirm if you can hear me and your mom? And we'll wait for Professor to respond to that. But again, thanks so much for joining us here today. We are live as we are every week. Of course, there might be some days where we are not live. And of course, coming up next weekend, that is going to be one of those. I'm actually recovering from a work assignment that is going to drive me crazy starting tomorrow. Going through Friday night, and I need a weekend to just basically do absolutely nothing. So
right. And then I'll be in Tonopah, so I can't. It's just going to be too much, I think.
Yeah, well, and it's a lot. And thank you, Professor, for the confirmation. Sounds great. So we are good with
awesome.
It. So Katie, you are going to Tonopah. We will do a preview of your Tonopah trip, I think probably before the end of the program. We'll talk a little bit about your adventures that you are looking forward to do. And of course, I still think the Clown Motel would be amazing.
Well, we are going to Clown Motel. I'm just not staying.
Oh no, you need to spend the night. Now, from what I've heard,
maybe one day
you might get a noogie or a wet willy when you're in the Clown Motel, but that has not yet been confirmed. So we'll see. So anyway, so if you missed our discussion on the Bowers Mansion, this is going to be kind of a repeat, but we are definitely going to be adding some new content into it. So this is kind of one of those. Okay, we got the first show out of the way. Now we can go ahead and actually proceed with it. So, Katie, I'm going to leave it up to you. The floor is yours. Let's talk about the Bowers Mansion. And where is that located at, by the way?
In Washoe Valley.
Oh, MG. Yes, Washoe Valley. All right. Tell us tell us about Bowers Mansion.
So in this episode, we're going to talk about a local legend that is very familiar to those who live in and around Reno, Nevada. We're exploring the gem of the area, Bowers Mansion. And, it has roots in Virginia City. She came to Silver City and then to Gold Hill. That's where she found her fortune. And we're going to talk about that. And, we'll explore Virginia City later on in our other episodes. But, we're going to talk about the most extravagant home in Nevada at that time.
Well, and obviously, this kind of goes back into a little bit, so we'll kind of get into that. But there's a lot more than just the hauntings and the visions and things like that people see, including you as well, Katie. I know you've had a couple occurrences, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah, exactly. And of
Quite a few
course,
experiences there.
I was actually there a few weeks ago, and I did have a vision. They said, please tell Katie to leave us alone. We do not want her back. So I don't even, this could be something.
Whatever.
Yeah, they were like,
Not true at all.
they have a ghost restraining order filed and everything. I think the ghost of Beetlejuice when they were from the dead and everything. So no, we'll talk about that in just a little bit.
I wish.
I know.
That'd be
Well,
cool to meet him.
it would be pretty cool. But again, don't forget we have it pinned in the chat. Make sure you drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe, share the screen, anything you can to get the traction moving and get
Yes,
us more
please share with your
content.
friends.
Yeah, share it your friends, or in my case, your friend. If you have one friend, that's more than probably what I have. But
Well, I'm your friend. Am I your only friend?
no, I think you're more like my sister. No,
That's true.
I think you're like my sister more than anything else, which is fine. I have no problem with that. Because I do have a sibling, but he lives in Southern California, which by the way, I will be going there next month. So more on that to
Oh,
come.
nice.
Yeah.
Very
And
cool.
and I might actually have something to share with that, but I'm not going to tell Katie until it actually happens. So
That sounds good.
there is
I'll
fun.
be
Let's just say
I'll be waiting.
well, let's just say there are ghost stories about actual sightings and visions of ghosts inside
Mhm.
Disneyland, and that is where I'm going in November. So more
Oh,
to come on
yeah.
that.
I was
Yeah.
actually seeing some stuff about that I'd like to
Yeah.
do an episode on. So
Yep.
we're definitely going to do that at some point.
Yep, and I actually am going to spend a little bit of time going up to Walt's, going up to Walt's or nearby, not really into his apartment, but it's right. If you don't know Disneyland, there's the fire station. That's when you're walking into Main Street, left hand side. There's that
Yeah.
big fire station. Right above it is his apartment, and he used to stay there like
Yeah, I remember
literally
that.
every single day. So we'll talk a little bit
Yeah.
about that. Of course, at another time since we're not really talking about the Disneyland hauntings, but more or less the Bower Mansion hauntings. So, Kate,
Right.
why don't you?
While you mentioned that, I'm just
Yeah,
going to say one thing real quick.
yeah.
Yeah, that there was a woman that passed away on the Haunted Mansion ride, so I definitely want to talk about that
Yes.
later in that
Well,
episode for sure.
yeah, that is obviously something
That was
that
recent.
is, yeah, and that's obviously something that, me being a Disney freak, fanatic,
Yeah.
whatever terminology you want to have, all I know is there's a restraining order involved with me there at Disneyland, but the restraining order does expire. It will be 10 years, so thankfully I'll be able to go back in there and be able to go back and everything. So,
Nice.
all right,
All right.
so
Sorry.
Bowers Man, no, you're fine. So basically, Bowers Mansion. If you didn't hear our show
Mhm.
last time, or if you're not familiar with Bowers Mansion is historical and imposing residence. It's situated in the northern end of Washoe Valley between Reno and Carson City. Right off modern day, we're talking about interstate. Well, it was 395, but now it's 580. So it's kind of in
Yeah.
a valley there in between Reno and Carson City. Carson City is our state capital. Um, I'll leave it up to you, Katie. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about all about the Bowers Mansion?
Sounds good. Thank you. So this story is about huge success, grief, and loss for the very famous woman who built it. Times were not easy back then, and this area is now a hotbed for paranormal activity. And I believe that is because she considered herself a medium, a psychic, a seeress. I don't know. She would actually get paid for readings. She loved the people. She always wanted to help people. And so she would have, when she was up in Virginia City in that area, she would have people, boarders where she would feed them and, you know, house them. And so when she did the mansion, when she decided to build a mansion after her very big success with a mine up in Virginia City during the Comstock Lode silver boom, gold boom of the 1860s, she was able to build the mansion, and she had lavish parties and picnics, and I mean she would invite the lowest of the low and anybody else who would come. I'm not sure, there's not a lot of information about if she had like the higher class or people like that in her
Well,
um
she would be more of
circles.
what's called a philanthropist, right? Where she would be
Yeah,
able
because I mean
to, yeah.
there wasn't a lot of high born people here in Nevada that I know of, that had that much money. She was the richest person, her and her husband.
Right. Well, and they were they were basically a prime example of the type of kind of, I'm trying to think of the word to say here. high society is the
Yeah.
best way I can say it. So back in the 1800s, up in Virginia City,
Mm-hmm.
not just Virginia City, but all of Nevada. So California had the gold rush, right? We had basically
Right.
the silver rush, where there was a lot of silver that was being mined, and it was more accessible
Yeah.
than gold, and people came to Virginia City. So Reno, Virginia City, all that little triangle area around there
Mm-hmm.
was a hotbed of commerce, gold mining, things like that. And to this day, up at the University of Nevada, Reno, they have a school for mining. So they continue that through today. Of course, now it is
Yes, very much.
definitely not recommended to go up to the mines in Virginia City because yeah, you won't be coming out of those. You might as well just
You got to be
say
very
goodbye.
careful not to fall.
Well, no, you might as well just say goodbye to your family, friends, anyone you love, and come
Right.
out, because at the end of the
So be
day,
careful if you go in these areas and you're going near
no,
mines.
don't
Just
even be
be
careful.
very
Just
aware.
don't even be careful. Just don't go up there at all. No, I'm being serious. Do not.
Whatever.
No, because there
No,
are
I'm
some.
talking about just, there's areas where it is safe though,
Well, but
just not a mine itself. Yeah,
no,
but there's like areas where you can
I
go.
I wouldn't go. I mean, go to the ones where there's like inside, like the downtown. When I mean downtown, it's all Russian
Yeah.
buildings. It's literally like a block, and that's their downtown. People live up in
Yeah,
Virginia
that's what I'm
City.
talking
People
about.
still live up
Yeah.
there. So talk to us about. I mean, a little bit about the construction. When did it start going into effect? When did they? How was the process on that?
I'd have to look at my notes because I did not get that prepared. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness gracious! No, it's okay.
That
I have no.
was
So
not one of the things I was going to talk about,
no,
though.
it's always good to like bring up a little bit of
Yeah, I know.
the
I have it
construction and things like
somewhere.
that
It's in
first.
my
So
paperwork, but I don't
yeah,
have it
so I
in
mean,
front of me.
it was built in 1863 by
Okay.
Eilley Bowers and his wife Ellie, and it was designed by J. Neely Johnson, and it combines Georgian and Italian architecture modeled after buildings. And Ellie remembered from her native Scotland as far as
Hmm.
the architecture of it. So it's definitely one of those buildings that has
Yeah.
a lot of just magnificence to it. But it's also
Well, there's.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna it's also very humble. And what I mean by that
Yeah, I
is,
agree.
yeah, it's not just, this ginormous mansion,
Lavish.
which it is. I mean, back in the day,
Hmm.
it absolutely was, because if you see homes back from the 1800s compared to now,
Yeah, it was
it like right now
something.
in my house, it probably would be it would probably rival Bowers Mansion, although it obviously wouldn't, because that's a more elegant type of building. But it was the
Yeah.
first stately home in Nevada built at an extravagant cost. It was reported over a quarter million dollars to build, which is an enormous
Yep.
sum at the time, right? It's not something that's a very cheap thing. The Bowers toured Europe specifically to acquire luxury furnishings,
Yep.
statues, and paintings to adorn their new thing. They called it their castle.
Yeah, and I believe she met the queen on one of those trips.
She did.
That was just something I
Yeah,
read,
no,
but I
she
don't.
did, because well,
Mhm.
and still to this day, like the royalty, obviously England's the most notoriety one, but there's also other
Yeah.
kingdoms around the world that are very lavish, and they very much are about status at the end of the day.
Yeah. So the reason why we're talking about Bowers really is because, hold on one second. Sorry about that. Okay. The reason why we're talking about Bowers Mansion is because some say, me included, that there are ghosts that haunt this location, and spiritual energy is very thick there, because also it was used as the boarding house, like you said, or like I said, and spiritual readings and seances were done. Like we were talking about on the first time we did the episode, it feels very strong and thick there, and like there possibly might be more energy than we realize.
Oh, and you will find later on as we do this show, and for the listeners, not for Katie, because Katie will tell. You will
Yeah.
find that there are some things in there that obviously would be very much more of the supernatural. I don't think Katie was going and being swallowed up into a demon hole, but maybe she'll break some news with us. Who knows? Maybe we'll see what she says. But
Yeah.
um, before we get into that, so obviously, later in life we had, obviously when any type of Comstock load happens and you strike it
Right.
rich, eventually you start to go into the poorhouse, and that's kind of what happened
Yeah, that's
with
exactly what
this.
happened to her.
So when Sandy died in 1868, Eilley eventually lost the mansion to foreclosure in 1876. The property later operated as a popular resort and picnic destination, which still the picnic destination part is still
Yeah,
going on today. In fact, it is run.
alive and well.
It is alive and well, and it's run by the Washoe County Bowers Mansion Regional Park. The mansion itself is a museum. It offers tours, which are seasonal, that showcase the period furniture. Most of it has been donated by Nevada families and detailed the fascinating grounds and dramatic life of the Bowers family. So obviously we're going to get
Exactly.
to that part of it. Again, thanks again for joining us. If you do like this stream, don't forget, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe, because God forbid Katie would like to see 10 subscribers tonight. If we can get 10 subscribers to the show
That would be
tonight,
amazing.
that would be amazing. So
Yeah.
let's get into it, Katie, because we've kind of got a little bit of a preview as far as the Bowers Mansion. So let's talk about obviously what some people may want to hear about and what happened. So let's talk about your experiences, and let's just talk about everything in general about it.
Definitely. Sounds great.
Yeah.
So, as you mentioned, they have tours. So, when I'm guessing between 10 and 11 years old, I don't remember because, you get older and your memory escapes you. But I was around that age. We went on a field trip from the school, and they were like, we're going to go to Bowers Mansion. I didn't know anything about it, obviously. I was pretty young, and so I had no knowledge of what I was going to experience, but I was excited. And so we get there and we go in for the tour, and the first thing I remember about that is this big open living room area and a really large gold framed mirror. It's huge. It's on the wall, very big, and I don't know, I was attracted to it. And I was just kind of looking around the room and just taking it all in because I've never been to anything like that. You know how, like you're saying, the house is kind of humble in a way, but it's a mansion.
Right.
I mean, it just had all the old style furniture, and they've preserved a lot of the, you know, timeline back then. It's like stepping into that time period.
Right.
And so, as a kid, I'm thinking, this is really cool, so fancy, all this fancy furniture and these giant rooms and stuff like that. Most people live in pretty modest homes these days. And so it was very much a fascination right away for me. So I'm just kind of taken aback, looking around, and I'm in the back of the group, kind of listening to the tour guide, taking my time. They're going ahead of me, and I'm just kind of following slowly behind them. And I get to the stairwell, and I look up, and it's kind of steep, like we talked about last time. And it was kind of ominous and scary. I was like, oh, whoa, It's the daytime, by the way. It's not nighttime or anything,
Right.
I don't think you take kids on a field trip during the nighttime, but it was a little scary. But
who knows? I mean, there might be some people that are out there, wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that it was, this happened during the day. And so I go up the stairs. They're way ahead of me at this point. And I come to the children's room. And I know nothing about Bowers Mansion again. So I come to the children's room. I'm kind of just looking around, peeking my head in, kind of leaning in. And all of a sudden, this woman appears in the rocking chair. And she's got something in her arms, swaddled. It looks like a child, maybe an infant child. And I'm just like, and the rocking chair wasn't rocking, but it kind of felt like in my mind it was, if that makes sense.
So would it be, so what type, so when you go back to the child part, is that more of a, was it like a baby? Was it yeah,
it was definitely a small child.
Small child, okay.
Like baby.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Not like anything like toddler size or anything like that.
Okay.
So I'm kind of almost frozen, just staring at this woman. I couldn't really see her face. I just could see her clothing, and it looked like, 1800s clothing from the little knowledge I had. And I'm just like, what is happening? See this woman, and then all of a sudden it hits me where I'm feeling her emotions, and I'm feeling what she's feeling, and I'm kind of feeling her crying and in despair and upset and I realized that the child that she's holding had passed away, or the baby.
So you
And
probably saw the ghost of Persia. Persia is the Bower's adopted daughter.
Persia was 12 when she passed. I was going to talk about that next.
Right.
But this baby was her biological child.
So it's a biological. Okay, so this is a completely different one. Okay, which actually I have notes too.
I didn't mention it. Sorry already.
That's
but
okay.
She did have 2 children. She birthed, and both of them passed in infancy. So I was, but I didn't know that when this happened. Okay.
Right.
Like I was listening to history kind of with the tour guide, but not really. Well, you're a kid. You're kind of, you see something, and I'm ADD on top of it.
Well, especially if you see, no shit. No, just kidding. No, but like if you see like something, you're just kind of like, you're like listening to the tour. I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are, right? You could be like a 6-year-old or like a 60-year-old. You're listening to a tour and everything. Also, you see like something in the distance or something like that, and you're just like,
exactly.
You just totally zone out in your.
But I was alone at this time. Like they had already gone ahead of me. Mm-hmm. And I was just like mesmerized, and I didn't know what was happening. I thought I was going crazy. I didn't think I was seeing what I was seeing or feeling what I was feeling. The feelings were very overwhelming, and I don't know what it's like to lose a child. I'm 10 years old.
Right.
And so it was like, whoa, and all of a sudden I'm kind of taken out of that. She disappears, and I'm just kind of like sitting there thinking, did that really happen, or did I imagine it? Because I'm a kid.
Right.
So it was pretty like overwhelming at that point. I was like, I felt at the time that I was like imagining it, and that was just me and my imagination. But I realized way later that it was not, definitely not. And that was like full apparition. You know what I mean? Like I've never had anything since then, since that experience to even match that, so.
Very fascinating. I mean, it's just crazy when you have these times, especially you having it at that young age, right? Not to say that.
I mean,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think there's a reason for that.
Well, and I think we're going to get into that because I think you're going to share that because.
Well, when you're younger, you're more open to having experiences like that. You're young, and you're not as far away from what they call the veil from when you're born. You know what I mean?
Well,
and also there's a theory about that.
Right. But also on top of that as well, it's, your ghosts have been known, or spirits have been known. I don't want to say necessarily ghosts because it could be spirits. Spirits have been known to latch on to young children. Not to say that they latch on to children far more than adults, because
I don't know if I'd say latch on necessarily.
Well,
but I mean, I guess they're more open to it. Well, they're more open to seeing it, right? And because as we get older, we kind of start to ignore those things, and we start to ignore things that are in front of us, and we're changed throughout growing up and learning, and I think that people may experience more things if they're more open, and I think children are more open for sure.
Well, especially, I mean, it's a typical like male thing where guys just don't, guys, you'll be on a date with like some female, and all of a sudden you'll be sitting there at dinner, and all of a sudden, oh, there's a football game on. I can't talk to you right now. So, I zone out like that. So, but yeah, it's just, but you're right. I mean, I think children are more likely to be more open, especially to communication. They're more open to different things. They're more open to seeing or experiencing different things. So I definitely believe that there is that. Absolutely. And Hardy, hey, art girl Ryan. Hello.
Nice.
Good to see you.
So during that experience, I looked back at it, and I do think it was a moment in time. Even though I believe she does haunt the mansion, it was a moment in time that she showed me. And she was showing me what happened during that time. Maybe she was re-experiencing it again. I don't know.
Well, and that's something too, also, is when you do research on spirits, it always brings up either their best memories or their worst memories. And it's relived, right? So
and negative memories, I feel like they hold a lot more energy, I guess, if that makes sense. And so it's not surprising to see that. You know what I mean?
Anger's passion, right? When you're angry, you get mad at your kids, or you get mad at a family member, you hold on to that a lot more than a good memory or good thought, because
sometimes.
I mean, most times. For me, for sure. I mean, oh my God, I can only imagine.
But I mean, like the birth of your child is a great experience. You don't really forget how that felt. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I
So
absolutely.
it kind of goes both ways, but yeah, I do
Right.
believe I agree with you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, so that was your first time. And how old were you again when that happened? You said you were like 10, 11 or something, or 9 or 10 or
Yeah,
something?
I don't remember, like preteen, 9 to 11 years old,
Okay, so
maybe.
about 9 or 10. Okay,
I could have
perfect.
been older than that.
Right. Okay. And then I know you had another experience. Why don't you
So
share that?
that experience, you would think as a child that would scare the heck out of you, but I'm not a
Yeah.
normal person. So
Yeah,
it
you
scared
said
me
it,
in the
not
way I
me.
didn't want to. Yeah, I didn't want to share it with anybody because I thought they would think I was crazy. But I also wasn't scared by it. I was very intrigued by it. I was very like, what
That's
going
okay.
on? So I kind of, in a way, it that place became a very curious thing for me,
Hmm.
and I couldn't wait to go back and go back and go back.
Right.
And so my dad, he's a postal worker, and he would have their post office picnics there. And when I found out that was going to start, I don't remember when that started. It might have even started before I did the tour. I don't remember. But basically, we'd go there every year, and I couldn't wait to go down to the mansion and just explore and see what I felt and saw. And I didn't have much experiences after that, and so I was kind of disappointed, to be honest with you.
Right.
Um,
Well, they will
but
tell
then
you
there,
they will tell you when the experience is going to happen. You don't get to dictate
right,
what goes on with that.
exactly.
So,
But I mean, I always felt good when I went down there and a good energy, and because I was curious about it, you know what I mean? So maybe I took it as a positive thing. I don't know. But so I did, an opportunity came up where I was kind of doing investigations with another group that I got in touch with thanks to my sister. And this was like our second or third investigation, I believe.
and your
And
sister's
they were like,
Megan. Your
yeah,
sister is Megan, right?
yes.
Okay.
And she wasn't there, but she told me about the group and I joined. And so I think she did join them other times, but anyway, so they said, hey, there's an opportunity to go to Bowers Mansion. They're going to do a ghost tour, a ghost investigation for anyone who's interested. It was
Hmm.
free. And I was thrilled. I was like, they didn't even know my history with Bowers at all. They didn't know
Right.
anything. So I was excited. And it was the first and only time that I think they did this. But they were like, yeah, we're going to open it up at night. We're going to let you guys walk through, take pictures, do whatever you want to do. You can investigate. I mean, there was 50 to 100 people there. So it's not like you can get a lot of good evidence because,
Right.
as far as EVPs and things like that, because there's people there. But
Hmm.
I happened to get quite a bit that night. And I was very happy about that.
Okay.
And my experience, I can explain that if you'd like.
Yeah, please do. That's why you're here.
Yep. I didn't know if you wanted to interject, but anyway,
No, no, by all means, please don't.
so I was probably about 7, 8 months pregnant. I don't remember. And with my second child, it was about 2007. So I was about 27 when this experience happened. And basically, I'm standing in this group with the people that we're doing the investigation with. There's quite a few people in front of us. We're on the back side of the mansion, waiting for the tour to open up. And we're just kind of in a circle talking to each other. And all of a sudden, I get this inkling to look to my left, and I look at the mansion, and I kind of look up a little bit to this. It's like right above the first floor. And there's like, I don't know what you call it, like overhang or something.
Like you mean like the
And I look
balcony,
to the,
right? Or was it like the window, or is that what you're talking about? Or
no, it's like, there's like an edge at the top, and then the next floor starts.
oh, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, it's like, it's not really an overhang, I guess you would call it, but it's just like a little area where you can't really walk on it, but it's just, I'll get, not important. But anyway, so I look to the left and I see this orb, and it was rather large,
Hmm.
like coming towards me, like above the first floor. And then it kind of appears to me as I'm watching it as like a woman in white, like in a white gown or something like that.
Okay.
It was like, that sounds so cliche, like total typical ghost, but that's literally what I saw. And I was like, what in the heck? So I took a picture immediately because I had my camera with me. I wanted to take lots of pictures that night to see what I could capture. And I do have that photo still, and it had a really big orb in the photo that I took, exactly where I thought she was. And I believe it was Ellie visiting me again because about, I don't know, a few minutes after I took that picture, I felt her presence come up to me start rubbing my belly, and telling me how happy and excited she is for me to have this baby. And it also comforted me in a way, because if she was that excited that I was pregnant and that I was having this baby, it made me feel like I wasn't going to have any issues with the pregnancy. You know what I mean? Because she would know she's on the other side,
Right. And that's
And so
and
it,
that's what and
yeah,
Ellie was one of those people that was very much about celebrating special occasions like that. She would be very, very much about that.
yeah. Well, on top of it, she lost two of her children that she birthed, and she wanted that more than anything. She was like the mother to everyone where she lived, where she worked, and, you know, everyone regarded her, I think, well, and thought, she's a very giving, loving person. So it wasn't surprising to me because I researched, obviously, after that first experience happened. I
Right.
learned all about her because I was really excited about learning about her. And I just felt very attached to her and very, like, I don't know, like we knew each other. You know what I mean? We had this connection now. And so when she did that, it was kind of overwhelming because I'm like looking around and everybody can't feel or see or hear what I'm experiencing. And I'm kind of looking around like, am I going crazy again? Like she's talking to me, you know?
Right.
But it was also kind of exhilarating and exciting and like, wow, like she's really here. She really likes me and knows who I am and remembers me. You know what I mean?
Right. And especially because it seems like she just remembers you from when you were a little girl.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like I said, I've visited many times after that.
Mhm.
Every year when my dad would have his picnic.
Right.
And so I think I would go down there sometimes and talk to her and just be like, hi, how are you doing? But I never had an experience until I was 27. That was pretty crazy. And it wasn't even dark yet. It was like dusk. Is
Mhm.
that the right word? Or is that morning? I can never remember.
Well, dawn is when it's sun's
Dawn,
coming
sorry.
up. Yeah, dawn's when the sun's
It was
coming
like
up.
dawn.
Dusk.
So it was like about to have the sun go down, but not quite.
Well, no. So
And so it was
dawn
still
is when
bright out.
the dawn is when the sun rises, but dusk is
Oh, yeah,
when
you're
the
right. I
sun's
was
setting.
right then.
No,
Dusk.
sorry.
I'm going brain dead right now.
No, it's okay.
Sorry, don't mind me.
That's okay.
But yeah, so it was dusk and then she just kind of left after that.
Mhm.
And I was like, wow, okay, I'm not crazy. She is really here.
Mhm.
I did experience what I saw as a child. Like it just kind of solidified that I have abilities that um I'm very sensitive to spirits and
Right.
psychic energy and all sorts of stuff. And so it was just like that was just such a cool experience for me. And then I got multiple photos that night of other orbs and like I had an orb that came like I felt something behind me and then I whipped around like because I was like excited I felt something and I took a picture and there was a giant orb floating above like it was moving upward
Mhm.
because it was like trying to escape my photo I feel like
Right. Well,
and I was like whoa
but
that was
again,
crazy.
it's like, there's always going to be a dominant spirit, and Ellie is the dominant
Oh,
spirit
I agree.
in that
Hmm.
house. In fact, Ellie has been one that has been seen the most by people. Um,
There's other sightings. That's awesome.
yeah, exactly. So a little bit of background on Ellie, and there's actually a few reported. So I actually did some research and I pulled this up here. So we have
Hmm.
Eilley Bowers, who is the main person, obviously in the household. She's actually held seances after her husband's death, and has been
Yep.
often claimed to be the primary spirit. Now that's not her. That obviously I'm the person. It's someone else that's been saying it. So
Well, she told me that's for sure.
she did in her own special way, but
Right.
visitors reported seeing apparitions or an orb in the area where she hosted her popular seances, particularly in the living
Hmm.
room and on the second floor. Cold spots, eerie mist, and disembodied voices are also attributed to her presence. So, that's the
Right.
most common one that's on there. There's also Sandy Bowers, who died of a lung disease common among miners, is sometimes said to have walked the halls before. I did mention Persia a little bit. Persia is the Bowers
Yeah.
mentioned.
I was gonna talk about that.
Is the adopted daughter who died young and also has a rumored presence.
Yeah. So she couldn't live without being a mother. It was very devastating for
Right,
her, like as you know, because she showed me that.
right.
But she ended up, I don't remember how old she was when she adopted her. I couldn't find that information offhand.
I did.
But it was like
I was
probably
doing
like,
that too. I didn't
did you
see it
get that?
either.
Like 8 or 9, something. She was like
Yeah.
older. That's all
Hmm.
I know. Is
Right.
she was older child and she passed away unfortunately when she was 12 of a ruptured appendix. So what happened was her mom was doing these parties, like I said, trying to keep herself afloat. She was, charging tickets to have people come in, and I'll feed you and I'll give you cheer, whatever she would do. And so she had one of these parties, and she kind of sent her away to Reno for a couple of days, and she would just like visit her a couple times a week, or have her come back to the mansion every couple times a week. But she sent her to Reno, and unfortunately she didn't make it before she passed away, and that was also very devastating for her. Right. And I believe she just kind of went downhill after Persia died, because she had no one else, and I don't know, her purpose maybe was just not as strong.
Well, and that's possible too. But of course, another thing I want to bring up as well too. You brought up the Bowers Mansion being on the inside. There's a lot of stuff on the outside of the grounds too, and one of the things that is most common, as far as sightings and aberrations, is the cemetery. So, one of the most common and persistent claims, in fact, this goes back to the 1800s, is a sighting of a glowing green figure moving around the mansion grounds late at night. So it sounds like this is going to be something more along the lines of something you wouldn't see during the day, but if you're out, because there's a campground that's nearby there. I would never want to on the grounds of Bowers Mansion, especially at nighttime, because that's I'm good. but there,
I would love it again.
I know you would have, but there have been sightings.
I'm not scared.
A glowing green figure moving around the mansion grounds. So
yeah, I'm scared of no ghosts.
I'm afraid of no ghosts.
And but yeah, that night where I saw her the second time, I caught a green orb on the second floor balcony.
Right.
With a photo.
And with these sightings, investigators and guests have reported technical issues with electronic equipment such as phones, cameras, batteries just draining, and then instantly everything's working just fine. So,
oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I see that a lot with ghost investigations.
Right. Well, and that is true, because I mean, obviously you have your.
I've had it happen.
You have ghost event. Oh, you did. Oh, I want to hear about this. The ghost adventures.
No, I mean, I have. I've had like my batteries die all of a sudden when I'm in an investigation. I've had it happen.
Yeah. So I mean, I have that. But another thing as well too, and there's a couple more I wanted to bring up as well.
Okay.
So one of the things they brought up in regards to the research is the water babies. So out here in the northern Nevada area is very much ancestral Native American plots. And around the property's natural hot springs, which is fed by the old swimming pool, which yes, there is a swimming pool. Of course, it's been
there's an old swimming pool,
and there's a new one. There is local folklore includes the legends of the water babies. They're believed to have some Native American tribes to have malicious spirits basically in the water, and responding to their cries is said to lead to catastrophe. So yeah, this is, I mean, water babies.
Oh, the land is definitely old.
Yeah, it's very, very old. There's even been witnesses who have reported seeing dark shadows near the pool area, and not just the old one, but the new one, which some speculate it could be a spirit of a victim of drowning. So there could be someone maybe in.
Yeah, I think there was history of drowning. I haven't researched that completely yet, but I heard about it.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of extra paranormal activity that goes on.
I mean, I got to be honest. I've been to a lot of haunted places in Nevada. Not everything, of course.
Right.
And this one feels very, very strong to me every time I go there. It
is very.
I know there's a lot of history in Nevada, but
I don't know. There's a lot of history in Nevada.
It's pretty strong.
There's a lot of people that will see things, say things, do things, I mean, I had mine. I mean, I probably might save it for a Virginia City episode.
No, you should talk about your experience this time.
Long story short, at there was a Silver Dollar hotel up in Virginia City.
Oh, Silver Queen.
The Silver Queen. Yeah, it's the Silver Dollar mural that's in there and everything. Telling him. You correct me every single time. I'm sorry.
I know exactly.
Every time I think of the Silver Queen Hotel, I think of the Silver Dollars. That's that big mural. It's literally like a 20-foot mural, which is amazing to see. I would suggest Googling it, or if you're in the Virginia City area, make sure you go up there. But anyway, they had it was a Halloween night. It was last year, around this time last year. It was actually on Halloween, and we were up there for a wedding. And a few of us, well, not us particularly, me and Michelle, but there were some people that got rooms.
I was going to go, but I didn't end up joining you guys.
Chicken. Anyway,
I wish I would have now, because I could have saw a full apparition like you.
You were too scared, but no. Anyway, so We were in one of the rooms, and the rooms are very much similar to how they were back in the day. Obviously, they've been covered and modernized to today's standards and things like that. But they don't have air conditioning. They do have a heater, but they don't have AC. So it wasn't cold. It wasn't hot or anything like that. It was actually just right. There was enough heat, and that was in the room and everything. And there was like a little heater, like an oil heater that was in the side of it or whatever. But anyway, I was in there, and I was asked by Michelle to go get something from her car.
His wife.
Which is my wife, yes. So every time I tell the story, it's always like I say Michelle, but yes, Michelle's my wife. Anyway, so I went and grabbed it, and I was on my way back, and I looked down the hall, and I see this figure that's like looking out the window. And I didn't think anything of it. I thought, okay, this is probably just someone out there looking. Maybe they were dressed up and maybe part of the Halloween festivities and just kind of looking out, seeing some of the thing I kind of was like surprised about was that it was like it was the dark side of the hall, not the hall, I'm sorry, the dark side of the building, because there's nothing out there. So I looked down just to check my phone, and I went back up, and it was gone. Like poof. And then I remembered shortly thereafter, I didn't see any feet, I didn't see hands, but I didn't think anything of it when I initially saw the visual.
Oh yeah, it's a lot to take in at first.
Yeah, because I'm looking and I'm like, okay, this is something here, but I didn't think much of it. And I look up and it's gone. Then I remember like, I don't think there was hands or feet or anything like that. So went back in the room. I didn't think of anything of it because obviously, people are like, oh, okay, you saw a ghost. Yeah, I mean, it's Halloween. You don't freak people out, things like that.
Do you remember what room you were in?
It was the second floor. I don't remember.
But you don't remember the room
number? I don't
number?
remember the room number. I just remember it was the second floor. We had to go up by the way, the stairs in that hotel is ungodly steep. Like if you
I haven't been able to go yet, so I'll have to go soon.
If you have people that are handicapped, I'm sure they have an elevator. I think they have an elevator. I don't know if they do. Maybe they're not allowed. Maybe they don't have the
Virginia
ability to. Virginia City can get away with a lot of like coding stuff as far as like not having to
because they're so old.
It's so old. Yeah, they're like
it's historical.
Because if you like install a like an elevator or anything like that, it might actually damage the building itself, and exactly. So they just were like, well, we can't do that. We might as well just like that. But yeah, bottom line is if you have handicap issues, if you are unable to walk, you're probably not going to be able to go up on the second or third, fourth floor. But I did look up at the fourth floor, and it was kind of darkish up there, but I'm sure there were people up there sleeping and everything. So
how did you feel after you had that experience?
I didn't know at first because I didn't know what it was, but I didn't want to say anything because of the fact
you're like questioning it.
Well, because I don't be like, hey, I saw, like I said earlier, I saw a ghost out there, guys. And yeah, okay, whatever.
It's Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't want to be that way. So like a couple days later, I was still thinking about it, not heavily, but I was still kind of thinking about it. And I told Michelle, my wife, I'm like, I may have seen something. And she's like, what did you see? And I said, I think I may have seen a ghost or something. And then I was kind of describing it, and she's like, yeah, I think that was a ghost. And I was like, okay.
That was your first experience of that, right?
Well, first real so I've had pictures before when I was on the Queen Mary, which that'll be another episode down the line, where you take photos inside like certain areas, and there was a lot of orbs. Obviously, Pyramid Lake, if you ever go up there are so many. Oh my God, there are so many orbs. If you go to Virginia City at night with the flash and everything, you will see so many orbs, and that's where the term water babies comes from, because the biggest hotbed of water babies is Pyramid Lake. So it's an amazing lake to go to, because it's kind of cool to go to. There's a lot of water, water boating and swimming, all that kind of stuff that goes out there. You just got to be careful.
Yeah, a lot of camping.
Yeah, you just can't. Don't be dumb.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you know, but there is like talk, or there's they say that Rosie, the ghost of a prostitute, is known to haunt Silver Queen Hotel. She committed suicide in the bathtub of room 11 after being heartbroken by a lover. So her spirit is frequently encountered. It is blamed for paranormal activity in the hotel, and they see apparitions at the top of the staircase, rattling doorknobs, footsteps.
I will tell you that this person was wearing white, and it looked like they had wet hair.
Oh wow! Oof. You didn't tell me that. That gave me goosebumps, dude. I'm
just being honest. Every time I'm just picturing. Every time I.
You're not messing with me, right?
No, I would not mess with people like this, because because these things are very sensitive to people.
So I feel like you saw Rosie.
I may have seen Rosie. I mean, I don't think there's.
Yeah.
After you said that, I'm like, that's probably who it was.
That's pretty cool, though.
Bobby saw Rosie. So, oh my God. Well, I guess I'm now seeing dead prostitutes. I guess I don't know, but
well, it's very common in Virginia City.
Well, it is, and Virginia
Mhm.
City is one of those places where back in the 1800s, a man would be working.
That was very
the mines all
prominent.
day
Mhm.
and pick up a prostitute and go to the room, and
Yep.
depending on the guy, it could be several minutes or it could be an hour or the whole night. Just depends on what they would pay for.
To speculate on that.
Well, no, I'm not speculating. I mean, I'm just thinking like, because prostitution is still legal in Nevada, and
Yeah.
it's
maybe it started because of that. I don't know.
It could have been. I mean, Rosie could have been the godmother of prostitution. I mean, not all over because prostitution's been around forever, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
I mean, that's one of those things that you just don't know. You just never know what you're going to.
Happy ghost anniversary, almost.
Yeah, in about another 13 more days. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it's funny, and this is not even related to the ghost stuff.
Right.
We were listening to Sirius XM. We like listening to Sirius XM because they have a lot of different stations, and you can basically travel anywhere if you're in a dead zone, especially if you're driving in California. If anyone who listens, what I'm talking about. If you drive 385 from LA to northern Nevada, you always go through the dead part, so you always listen to Sirius XM. So we listened to Sirius XM on the way. We like listening to like old classic music and stuff like that. It was about midnight, and we were back in town because we're going to go to the store, grab some snacks, and then go home and just crash or whatever. Okay. We were retired. It was a long day. And all of a sudden, it switched over from the classic, 1940s kind of music to holiday Christmas music. So it's a reminder that in 13 days on Sirius XM they're going to switch over.
Oh, jeez. No, don't remind
so
me of that.
I'm not looking forward to that because it's like, okay, let's have a little Thanksgiving here first, guys. But
right. I'm a Halloween girly, so I'll always speak for Halloween. I like the things creepy.
I know. Well, speaking of Halloween, I did see an article. Again, completely unrelated to what we're talking about. Article about they are starting pre-production of Hocus Pocus 3.
Yay! I did not know that.
Yeah, I read it today because something about Bette Midler was said to be excited about, and then I'm like, okay, so I just randomly click on it. I'm like, I usually don't like. I don't follow the latest Bette Midler trends or anything like that, but I clicked on it for whatever reason. And
it's big news, I guess.
It was an article from Variety, so obviously it's not like from these random websites where it's like, did you like it? What do you think? And click on the next page to tell us what we think of it. No, it was an actual article that they are in pre-production of Hocus Pocus 3, and then the entire cast is in it.
Nice.
That was in the first two. They're going to be they're going to be in the third one. So, yeah, there's going to be some Hocus Pocus 3 coming out next year or two. We'll see. Probably
awesome.
So that'll be interesting. So, anything else on Bowers Mansion before we wrap it up?
I do feel like, Miss Bowers, Eilley, she did a lot of spiritual, seances and different things in the mansion. So, I feel like I hate to say this because it might freak people out, but I do feel like there's maybe a portal there where ghosts go in and out. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of spirit there. I don't know if she attracted it or what happened. Because like when I go there, just, because we didn't really talk about the fact that I'm a medium. And I can, what a medium is, a psychic medium is I can speak to your past loved ones. I can tap into that. And so that's how I can feel spirit, see spirit.
I still want to
experience these things.
I still want one with my mom.
I know. I need to give you a reading. I was going to give it to you last time after the podcast, but then we just got to talking and I completely spaced it.
We were just chit chatting the whole time. So yeah, we
were just.
But no, we'll have to do one. But I just.
But yeah, I mean, the last experience I had, I was going to talk about that. It was kind of more of a negative one. So I think like I said, I feel like great there. I feel good, good energy there majority of the time. But I feel like there are some things that don't want you there, for sure.
Right.
So like, I was a little bit older. I don't remember exactly when this happened, but we were having the post office picnic again, and I was telling my siblings about, because of course they get excited too, because I've told them my experience eventually. It took me a while to tell everybody about my full apparition that I saw, because it's kind of scary. You think people will maybe think you're crazy. They're like, yeah, she saw a ghost. And like, even like talking about my spirituality, my abilities, can make some people uncomfortable. It can make my parents uncomfortable, my family. So, but my siblings were always very supportive, and they believed me. And so I told them, we got to go down to the mansion because it's haunted. Maybe we can see something. Maybe you guys can see something, and I can prove to you that I'm not crazy and it really did happen, And so we go down there, and it's quite a hike because we're over on the whole other side. And not like a long hike, but it's quite a trek to go all the way down to the mansion and past the pool and all that. And so we walk down there, and the mansion, when you come up to it, there's nothing like it in Nevada that I know of. I could be wrong, but it's huge. It has a beautiful fountain in the front, and it has, is it 3 stories now or 2 stories? I think
Are you talking about
they
Bowers
meant
Mansion?
to put. Yeah, I think they meant to put a 3rd story, but that didn't happen.
I think it's 2.
2 stories.
I think there's
right?
there's 2 stories, and I think there's the attic. I'm sure. I think there's.
Yeah, it's like a bigger. That's what I'm thinking of. Probably is like there's a little area at the top.
Right.
Anyway, so I kind of pull up to it, and I tell them, "Hey, we got to look in the windows, because there's no tours at that time." And so we're just kind of walking around. There's this giant door. It's taller than 2 people, I swear. And the windows are very tall too, about as tall as the doors. And we step up these beautiful little granite steps, and it's very much, you can tell it's old building,
Right.
And my siblings and all of us were kind of culminating at the door, and then we start looking in the windows. And there's this window off to the left of the door, and they're all peeking in, and I kind of walk behind them, and they all go, "Oh my God, I just saw a ghost in there or something. There was something black." And since I know the mansion pretty well, I'm like, I walk by again behind them, and I'm like, "Guys, that's that big mirror. It's a mirror. You just saw me walking behind you. You didn't see anything." Because I'm not the type that's like, I am skeptical still. You know what I mean? I still want to make sure that proof is given. When you experience something, I'm not going to just say, make experiences happen and be like, "Oh, that happened," but I want it to be real as well. It's just like anybody else. So I told them, you guys are getting too excited. It's just me walking by. There's a big mirror in there. Look at it. You can see it. And they're like, "Oh, duh, ha, ha, ha," and they start laughing,
Right.
And so we all kind of talk a little bit, and then my sister and her girlfriend go off to the left. My brother and his girlfriend go off to the right, and it's a wraparound, like a halfway wraparound porch in the front. And there's windows that you can look in on all sides, and then it kind of stops at the porch, and then it's just like rock. And so they all go on that side. I'm still kind of hanging out. I don't know why, but I was just hanging out by the door. And they all come, back a couple minutes later, and we're just chit-chatting and talking, and I have this inkling to look to the window that we just looked in. I don't know, I just kind of like the same experiences I had the second time, where I just like had this feeling, and I looked over, and the window was shut. There's these big wooden shutters on all the windows, and it was shut. And I'm like, "What the heck?" And I'm like, "You guys, look, the window's shut. We just looked in that," because we knew we looked in it because I freaked them out. And so I was like, "Oh my God, you guys." And I start walking and looking at all the windows, and all the windows are shut. And I know for a fact they were all 4 I think it's four windows. Yeah. In the front, all 4 windows, the shutters were closed. And I kind of like panicked at that point. I don't know why, but I was like, "You guys run, look on the other, were those windows open on the sides you went to?" And they're like, "Yeah, they were open. We were looking inside them." And so I say, "Run over there and see if they're shut. I want to see if the shutters," because I kind of explained to them how there's wooden shutters. They're closed. You can see it. And I'm like, "What is going on?" And so I kind of like tell them to go look. They go look. They kind of run around the corner on each side, and they come back, and I said, "Were they shut?" And they said, "Yeah, they're all shut." And so I back up. I kind of like go down the steps, and I back up, and I look at the second floor to see if the windows are all shut, because from what I remembered walking up, they were all open. They're all shut. And I had this eerie feeling. I'm like, "Oh my God, you guys." I'm like, "I told you guys, this place is freaking haunted, right?" I said, "They shut the shutters. We didn't even hear a sound. Not one sound."
So
And I'm just like,
I think the moral of the story here is don't
was
ever go with
crazy.
you anywhere, because you're going to scare people.
Pretty much. I don't know. But there was no staff there that I know of, because they don't staff it unless there's tours that I'm aware of. Like, I don't know how they could have shut the shutters without us hearing it, because they're pretty loud as far as I know. Like, maybe they aren't, but they're big. And I would think they'd make some kind of noise, because when I've been at other people's houses with those kind of old wood shutters, they make a lot of noise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, am I wrong?
No, they do. And a lot of times they do make those loud noises.
And so it was pretty crazy. And I was like, I wonder who that was trying to keep us out, you know? And I kind of had a feeling it was Persia, because I don't really know, but I just, from what I've kind of gleaned and kind of just from my own, like, if I try to connect with someone, you know, I can get information from them. I just had a feeling it was her, and she was just not wanting the attention. She didn't want anyone looking in. She didn't want anybody there. That was the feeling I got that day. And I think she wasn't like her mother. She didn't like having all these people. She just wanted to be with her mom, you know,
right,
and her dad at the time.
And that's something too. Ghosts will let you know they do not want you around. They do not want you being around them. They will tell you in their own special way, get out, get out, get out. Yeah. And that's probably her way of doing it. So I can only assume it is.
So, you know, I haven't really had any experiences after that. I've gone there a few times after that, and, you know, I've walked up to the cemetery. I've never had any, you know, evidence at the cemetery like that I've caught. I've taken pictures up there, but nothing. But I haven't really tried that hard since then, you know, to go over there and have experiences. But yeah, those, I mean, if I feel like if I go back there, I could definitely have something happen again. Yeah. But if you're a ghost hunter, it's a great place to go.
Absolutely.
And it's a great place regardless. It's beautiful land and grass and picnics and playgrounds. We've taken the kids there.
Yeah.
And you can roll down the really cool hill over there. So
just don't see any green orb.
Right.
But I think that's like at one.
Apparently I caught.
So yeah, you did. You probably did.
It happened to me.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you thought it was like you're too strong or something like that. So I don't know, but
so I don't know. They show themselves to me apparently. So
hey, more for you, less for me. That's all that matters. I'll tell you.
I'm gonna take you down there one day. I swear.
Oh, God.
You'll be like, ah.
Yeah, we'll get Mouse and I to go out there and check it out. So
right, and then you guys are just gonna be joking around, and then something's gonna mess with you because you're making jokes.
No. He be the one to mess around. I'll be like, no, dude, we're not. This is their place. We just want to make sure that
you gotta respect it for sure.
We want to respect it. You know, obviously, I'm not gonna ask for any visits or anything like that. I'm not gonna be like, hey, can you move this Coke bottle? I'm not gonna be that. I'm not doing that kind of stuff. Just be like, hey, we just, you know, we're just here to visit. We've heard so many wonderful things about, you know, the Bowers family, and we want to make sure that everything is, you know, that this is a historical and that we spread the word about it. But that's probably why we do these shows. But I think that is going to do it for us. Now, a couple of reminders. So next week, you are out of town. You will be visiting the metropolis known as Tonopah, Nevada. And you'll be giving us a full report. So next week's episode will be about, or not next week, so I'm sorry, but 2 weeks.
Tonopah.
Yeah, it will be about Tonopah. So
it's not going to be just one location. It's going to be, you know, multiple locations, whatever we do. I know we're going to probably do a ghost tour. Going to learn all about what's going on down there and what haunted locations there are.
Absolutely. So we will talk about that on our next episode, which is going to be Saturday, November 1st. We will, of course, not do a show on the 31st because you have your kids, and I really don't want to be around kids. So
I got to go trick-or-treating.
No, that's okay. So we have that. And then, you know, on the 1st, we have that. On the 8th, we should be good for another show. I think that will be our Queen Mary episode. We will talk about the Queen Mary and about its hauntings and my other experience with ghost on there. And then no show on the 15th, as I will be actually out of town that week. But on the 22nd, we will be looking to do Disneyland and its ghost sightings down there as well too. Now, of course, as a reminder, if you like anything you hear, if you like what we're doing, if you have any questions, by all means, please drop us a like. Leave a comment, give us ideas. We would like to know what you would like to hear.
And if you have any experiences or you've seen ghosts or you've captured evidence, let us know and we'll see if you can be a guest on the show.
Absolutely. And I know that there are people out there that will have some kind of story. So just give us a heads up. If you're interested, drop us a message Otherwise, I think that is going to do it for another edition of the Phantom Fables podcast. Thank you again for joining us here. Kati, thank you for sharing your Bowers Mansion story. I've heard it twice now, but even then, I think I got more information than the other time, so I'm really excited to
I agree.
To hear more about Bowers Mansion down the line, and maybe one of these days going out there seeing it. So
that sounds good.
That's going to do it for us. For Kati,
have a good night, guys.
Yeah, thanks for joining us here tonight. And we will see you back here next time for another edition of the Phantom Fables podcast. Ooh, spooky. Spooky.